Mark,
Please,
on this issue, Russian military spokesperson has said today, or has asked the State Department to check the content of UN Resolution 2231, and he said, we suggest the representatives of the State Department get out their pencils and trace the lines on the map to discover the fact that Syria is a separate sovereign state. Do you have any comment on that?
I saw the quote, actually, and I would just, for the record, I would remind them that my name is Mark Toner, not Michael Toner. Maybe it was just a bad translation, I don't know. If what you're asking me, Michelle, is whether we have, what specifically is the question for us to answer, is whether we,
to check the content of the UN Resolution 2231 and then that Syria is a separate sovereign country.
Well, I think the assertion is, and I hate to parse a Russian official's language, but I think the assertion there is that we're somehow carrying out military strikes in a sovereign nation, that we don't have its approval. Is that the point? Because if that's so, we've been very clear that we believe that we have the authorization, the legal authority, rather, to use military force against ISIL in Iraq and in Syria.
I think he means that that Russia didn't break the UN Resolution 2231.
I think he was making 2 points with that. And look, I mean, with regard to the UN Security Council Resolution 2231, we're assessing it. It's very complicated. It is not clear cut in the sense of that it prohibits providing Iran with offensive weaponry. It has gradations, if you will, on what you can or cannot do with regard to providing or giving Iran offensive capabilities. And so we're looking at it, and we're trying to make a sober assessment of whether this constitutes, in our view, a violation. We're not there yet. So I would just, ask everyone to be patient, and once we do reach an assessment of whether it is or isn't, then we'll let you know.
And what about the other point? Syria as a sovereign country.
Well, that's I was trying to answer that. I said we've been through this before, where the accusation is that we're somehow operating outside the bounds of international law. We disagree. We are operating both in our own national security interests, but also in the region's security interest in trying to carry out strikes against Daesh and against ISIL. Frankly, the regime thus far has been incapable of going after and handling this threat to their own national security thus far. And, in fact, we've seen the regime, as much as they purport to be, full-throatedly and wholeheartedly going after ISIL and Daesh, we've seen that they collaborate when it's in their interest to do so.
My last question.